You're watching the Coaches Roundtable on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guests from Mars High School and the University of Notre Dame, the Carmody brothers. To my right is Robbie Carmody, basketball player, and to his right, the big boy, his brother Michael Carmody, offensive lineman. Guys, I know you have a short break. Thanks for coming here on the show. How are things going this summer with workouts and practices?
They've gone pretty well for us at basketball. We got two new coaches that came in and have really helped to flip our culture around a little bit, make our emphasis a little bit more on defense so that we can compete a little bit better next year. So it's been a lot of fun getting in and kind of starting from scratch almost. Well,
Robbie, let me ask you, you only played 16 games. You were very healthy in high school. You had a rash of injuries there at Notre Dame. Your first game, correct me if I'm wrong, you had 13 points and then you had was it a pectoral injury?
Yeah, I tore my labrum.
And then you come back and you have a couple of leg injuries. So it's been frustrating for you. How's the rehab going for you?
It's been a little bit up and down, but we're finally getting onto the other side of it. So I'm really looking forward to getting back out there. And I got really lucky. As weird as it sounds, I got injured early enough that I got all my years back. So even now, I have the same amount of eligibility as him. So
you're a junior, but you have, what, 3 more years?
4 more.
4 more years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, I know you guys finished on a sour note, the 101-559 loss to North Carolina. You have a lot of players back, 11-15 last year. Can you guys get back on top this year?
Yeah, I think we really have the pieces to become a top 25 team. We're bringing back pretty much our entire core, and we're bringing in a grad transfer from Yale who was the co-Ivy League Player of the Year the last time they had a season. So we're finally in the Notre Dame mold of get old and stay old. So we're gonna have 7 guys that get a degree this year, and I think that's gonna be really beneficial for us winning games.
Michael, let me turn to you. You have 4 years left. You're there at right tackle, Josh Lugg from North Allegheny. Yep. You're backing him up. Kind of have the Western Pennsylvania flavor there, and Andrew Kristofic from Pine Ridge. And I was last week when we had Jake Cradle, and we're talking about Jake Cradle at Pitt, and you and Lugg and Kristofic at Notre Dame, and then Josh Kaltenberger from Seneca Valley, who's at Purdue, Michael Cady from Pine Ridge, who's at Indiana. You guys that have a pretty good offensive line. Do you stay in touch with all these guys? Any contact?
Not so much. I would say it's more just, me, Josh, and Andrew kind of talking at this point. But, there's still that Western Pennsylvania connection where we're proud to be from Western Pennsylvania. We're proud to be from this area. Me and Andrew are actually roommates, so we got a 412 flag up in our house and everything. So, it's really awesome to have that connection with those guys and be with them out there.
I was talking to Jake about the transition from high school to college. He said there was so much football, he had no idea what it was about until he got to Pitt and had learned. Did you find the same transition for you when you got to Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, coming from Mars where we ran a wing tee offense all 3 of my years, coming in and learning a pro-style offense, learning how to kick slide, learning how to, combo block, stuff like that. It was all new for me, so it was definitely a big learning curve, but an interesting one. I really enjoyed learning so much so quickly that I feel a lot more comfortable, I would say, now in that offense.
Well, let me ask both you guys, talk about physically, you guys look in great shape, but the mental aspect of adjusting from high school to college, how difficult was it? And what would you say to some kids looking at going to school next year, being recruited?
For me, the biggest thing was just kind of realizing that, you have to manage your time really well. The hugest thing is you've got school, you've got your sports, and then you got your social life. You want to balance all three of those things as well as you can. And there's definitely points where you're going to have to, study a little bit more, stay up a little later. You're going to have to lose some sleep. You're going to have to, do things you don't want to do. But, you have to have a goal in mind also. And that's what I kind of just looked forward to last year was I wanted to, keep a decent grade point average and help the football team. And I kept that goal throughout the year, and it really helped me to manage my time throughout.
Yeah, I would say something very similar. The biggest part is just you have to learn that you need to make sacrifices. A lot of times you're going to have friends who don't play sports who are going to be going out and doing stuff, and at times you're going to have to put all that to the side and sit down and do homework on a Friday night or something rather than go out with your friends. But that's part of it, and you have to learn to adjust to that because it is a lot different than high school because the course load isn't as much, and you're also not practicing as much.
And while you're on a field and on a court with stars from high school, you're in a classroom with academic stars from all over the world you're competing with.
Yeah.
How much does that push you, turn your game up a notch, academically, I mean?
A lot. I would say a lot of the things that I've learned and retained throughout my time there has come from just talking to the students in my class about the stuff that we're learning, because sometimes I get confused with what the professor says, but these kids are so bright and they understand it on a different level that they can explain it very well to me, and it's been really helpful.
I'll ask both you guys what you're majoring in at Notre Dame.
I'm doing management consulting.
Right now I'm trying to transfer into the Mendoza Business School. I was in engineering, but I had to transfer.
One of the great business schools in the country. I asked Phil Jakovic, who was on a few weeks ago, and Jake Crater, how they adjusted to playing last year before empty stadiums practically. You limited the number can come to Notre Dame basketball. Same thing. How was it? Eerie at first, strange at first, and then after a while, it didn't bother you at all?
I know for me at least, like the crowds weren't, they weren't bad. I felt like we had good crowds most of the time. Obviously the stadium wasn't full, but it was loud and you could feel the energy. But I cannot wait till stand out front of 80,000 people this year and hear the roar of that crowd. I mean, that's going to be awesome.
And you open up prime time at Florida State on a Sunday night, 7:30. All the eyes of college football will be on you. Let me ask both you guys this question: names, image, and likeness. What it means to you, how it's changing things. What's your viewpoint on it?
I think it's a great thing. I did a huge project on something similar to this in high school, going to more like an Olympic style, because I think that the athletes do deserve to be compensated a little bit, and it doesn't have to come from the school at all. We haven't really gotten to tap into it as much as we would like to at this point, but moving forward, it's gonna be really cool to see where it can go. I know for him, they're getting a lot of cool stuff from it, so it's exciting.
So finally, when I ask you, how neat is it for you guys to be in school together? How special is that?
I can't even put it in the words. It's been great for me. I've struggled a little bit with my injuries and stuff, and having him to be able to come over, I can go over and see him at any time that I want, has been huge for me. So I'm grateful for it every day.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I mean, we've ran into each other a few times on campus, but most of the time it's me going over to his apartment or coming over to my house and just seeing each other. It's nice to have a familiar face out there.
Guys, thanks for coming on the show. I hope you stay healthy, have a great year. Same with you. I'd like to get out and see a game.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy and have a great year, both of you, and go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much.
I'll be right back with George after this.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I am back. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. The Tigers away for this week. George, once again, so great to have these kids on. The Carmody brothers, the University of Notre Dame, Robbie, the basketball player, and Michael, the football player. Just amazing, this area. Talk about Phil Jacoby, Jake Cradle on last week. How many great kids we have here. Not to mention Mars. I didn't get a chance of talking about the Bednar brothers. They were all in high school together, the Bednar brothers and the Carmody brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite impressive. When we choose the athlete of the year, it's so tough every year because we have guys like this and girls all the time.
And I forgot, I was remiss last week in not mentioning, we talked about our Division I offensive lineman, Josh Kaltenberger from Seneca Valley, who's at Purdue. He's a little boy, too, about 6'4.5", 315. So Kaltenberger and Cradle, Christophic, Lug, Carmody, and Katie from Pine Ridge. And you got 6 guys right there. You could have a pretty good Division I offensive line that would average about 6'5", 310 pounds.
That's the way they are, too. That's the size of these guys today. I was watching the Big Ten preview, and what you forget is everyone has basically everyone back, but whoever went to the NFL, other than that, they're all coming back.
Well, let's move on to spotlights. The Rock High School junior golfer Jacob Wolick won the Tri-State PGA Junior Player of the Year Championship in the 15 to 16 age group. Wolick last season qualified for the state tournament. Butler golfer Paige Scott, she placed second at the Nota Begay Regional Tournament in Galloway, New Jersey. The top 2 golfers from each regional will qualify for the National Championship this November 13th to 15th in Louisiana, and it will be on the Golf Channel. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see. I watched something on the Golf Channel the other day I'd never seen in my life. It was a tournament in Ireland, male and female golfers golfing in the same tournament. It was quite impressive. $3 million prize.
Heather Stewart of Slippery Rock, she won the National Field Archery Association Target Championship in Yankton, South Dakota. It was the 6th national title for the 43-year-old Stewart.
Quite impressive.
Yeah, tough sport. You ever done any of that when you were a kid?
No, because they wouldn't trust me.
Yeah, we did somewhere
where it was going. You know
right
what I mean?
at the playground, but you had to be pretty good.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of skill.
Oh, no.
You see a sport that you don't understand.
Yeah.
You need to watch a little bit more to just like watching that skateboarding in the Olympics. It's not like going out in the parking lot and do it. These guys do things that are unbelievable. They're outstanding athletes, and it's dangerous.
Absolutely. Same with the gymnastics, all that stuff. If you don't actually do it yourself, it's hard, but you should have an appreciation of those people.
North Allegheny sophomore Becca Melanson, she's a member of the USA 16 and under water polo team. The team will compete in the international championships in Greece. And football players Matt Griffiths of Carn City and Eli Penny of AC Valley, they helped the South team defeat the North team 14-12 in the Frank Verichetti All-Star game. Both players received $1,000 scholarships. 17 $1,000 scholarships were awarded on behalf of this game and in his name. Pretty nice that they do that.
Absolutely. Anytime you can defray that cost in any way. The school is so expensive today, and a lot of people throw around the term scholarship, but there aren't a lot of people that get a full ride.
Yeah, George, we see what's happening in enrollments down and what's going on. We're going to talk about what's happening to the Division II schools here in Pennsylvania State Athletic Association. There's some huge changes coming about, but that's across the country that's happening.
Let me be the first guy. Hartford is going to be the harbinger of what's coming. They went from D1 to D3 last year, and they won't be the last one.
No, more and more of that to come. Our stories of the week. Major League Baseball contenders deal for help down the stretch. The Pirates pick up a total of 11 prospects in trading away Frazier, Holmes, Anderson, and Rodriguez. The closer, now David Bednar, he becomes the closer along with Chasen Shreve. George, note takers for Gregory Polanco and his $12.5 million contract. The Pirates are going to buy him out next year at $3 million. Just not enough there to take him.
Now, let me say this, and I put this on Twitter all the time. Sometimes someone barks back. Usually they don't. The guy makes half your salary. He's proven that he can't play. sit him down and put a young guy there. You're supposedly rebuilding anyway.
Yes, I think that makes sense. But I think they were hoping he would get his average up to maybe 240, bang a few more homers, and someone would pick him up.
Well, he went 2 for 11 and his average went up. Now, what's it tell you?
He's hitting, what, 203?
Yeah.
Hey, one of the prospects they got from the Braves, 23-year-old pitcher Bryce Wilson, in the Rodriguez trade. He started against the Brewers, went 5 innings, just 2 hits, 1 run, and a 6-2 loss. But Pirates have been battered by the Brewers, losing 4 straight, outscored 34-5. And when you watch, it shows you where the Pirates are, George. When you watch them against the Brewers look like, obviously, a major league team. The Pirates look like a minor league team
And at
against
the
them.
deadline last week, I watched the rich get richer, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, and I keep thinking, how in 5 years is this not going to be the same, where Pittsburgh's okay, we'll give them pretty good.
Right.
You think the Yankees and the Angels and the Cubs are going to sit back and allow them, or they're not going to go get somebody?
Well, the Pirates have 11 prospects through these trades, plus their draft choices. So you get what, they're about 30 players they stock their system with. So if realistically we're looking ahead, 2026, 2027, or 2025, if they're not showing a turn by then and having winning seasons, then this is all a failure. Now, out of those 30 players, George, if 7 or 8 of them make the major league roster, that would be great.
But see, what I'll say, I'll counter that by saying, if that were to happen, the rich are not going to sit back and allow.
Because
if you could guarantee me everyone played their hand, I'd say, yeah, that's the way to do it.
And it's not an even field.
No.
Because look what the Yankees pay. And
Well, the
what
Cubs
Pirates
paid those
pay.
guys. Let me
Now-
stick up for the Yankees
Yeah.
the first time. Cubs are paying them both.
Yes.
My point is, though,
But they got prospects
Yes,
in return.
yeah.
It's not just
They
the
have 5
Pirates.
prospects.
It's just not the
No.
Pirates picking up prospects
No,
and looking
Cubs-
at the
Cubs
future.
cleaned house the other day.
Cubs cleaned house.
They cleaned up. Washington cleaned house.
Yeah, Baez, Rizzo, Washington
Yeah.
getting rid of all-stars,
Yeah.
Shazer and Turner, the shortstop. They go to
Absolutely.
the Dodgers. The Yankees get Gallo and Rizzo.
Yes.
And the White Sox pick up the closer from the Cubs.
Yeah.
So who had the best of it here?
Yeah, that's what
Do you
I'm
think
saying.
is it the Dodgers? Getting the star pitcher.
Scherzer, yeah, Scherzer can pitch 3 times in a World Series if he has to. But when he had the World Series, Strasburg saved him.
Strasburg's out with injury.
Absolutely.
But they get Turner, the shortstop, and then the Mets get Baez, and they're going to move him to second base. So you have a pretty good combination there with Lindor and Baez.
But
for
you
the
Pirate
Mets.
fans, just think of this. That put the Dodgers over $300 million. Pirates spend 43. Now, come on.
Right, but you look once again. What we miss out here is the profitability, the percentage what the Pirates make in relationship to their payroll.
Oh.
They're one of the better teams around in terms of profitability.
Absolutely. And he's making his daughters richer. How many investments can you buy and increase 1,000%? He bought them for $200 million. They're worth $2 billion. I don't know of any investment. You'd have to talk to Warren Buffett.
And he's not going to listen to anyone about selling the team.
No!
It'd be crazy to do
Why
it.
would he sell?
All told, George, there were 36 trades in 2 days for teams trying to get ready down the stretch. So once again, I'm going to say there are a lot of teams out there picking up prospects, and we'll see what's going to happen 3-4 years down
And
the
I
road.
like your choice of words, prospect. There, you know the old bird in the hand thing. You know what you had with the center fielder for Pittsburgh. You do not know if these young guys could, even this Key Brian Hayes, they turned him into Brooks Robinson before he played a game, and he's hitting 260.
Well, you remember the days, and it's not happening anymore. So you wonder, they have to go out and get these prospects by trading players away. You when the days that a Willie Stargell came up, a Richie Hebner come up, a Richie Zisk come up, even going back to Clemente come up.
But
Grote came right up. I mean, those days, that doesn't happen like
But
this
not
anymore.
only that, they were here forever. They were property.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
were-
the
you
old
stayed.
Steeler dynasty. Those guys were property. They couldn't go anywhere. those days are gone.
They're gone. And I said it's a shame because you knew the Pirates always had some player coming up who was starred. And Donnie Robinson came up, he was 20 years old, 21 years old, was a star pitcher for them in
And
79.
Polanco's been a big bust. That's
Yes.
the other thing. Had he panned out, they wouldn't be looking as foolish.
Well, when I had the previous general manager on our show a few years ago, he was a little annoyed when I said, "Are you disappointed that Gregory was supposed to be this five-tool player wasn't happening?" And he said it's too early to give up. Well, we saw signs then that he had problems in the field as well as hitting.
No, he didn't develop, and when he makes half your salary, you have a real issue.
George, let's turn to National Hockey League. Brandon Sod of Gibsonian Pine Richland High School. He signs a free agent deal for $22.5 million over 5 years with the St. Louis Blues. And he's been around a while.
Great, that's terrific.
He won a couple of cups with the Blackhawks. So I'm going to say he's in his 30s at least. It's a pretty nice deal.
Well, it's a good one. Those hockey guys earned it. I don't begrudge them.
Not at all.
No.
Marc-Andre Fleury really dealt kind of disrespected there by Vegas, but he signs a deal with Chicago. He's 37. This ought to be the last run for him. A couple more good years.
He had a good year. He made one sloppy play in the playoffs.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And the Pens, due to cap limits, they're forced to look for bargain deals. They get one bargain deal in Brock McGinn, but they really need to pick up. They lost the forwards in Tanev and McCann, and looking to replace them. Well, I still can't understand why they got rid of both those guys.
Yeah, you wonder sometimes. They tend to will deal. Generally money, yeah. I think they don't want to do this. They're not as, like the Steelers will just dump you. I think it was time to get rid of Malkin, get 2-3 people for him and move on.
I don't see them getting better next year. No. As we mentioned last week, they have all these young players, 17, 18. But you're looking 4 years down the road, and he wants the team to get bigger and tougher and more physical.
Corners,
but I don't see it happening.
No, absolutely. And as you say, nothing worse than a team where you have half young guys and half old guys, nobody in the middle. They need to sustain this. I mean, Crosby, how much longer? Malkin, how much longer? 2 years, 3 years?
If that,
well,
maybe two for Malcolm, maybe four, maybe 3 or 4 for Crosby. But it's who you're putting around them, and I don't have the financial space right now to do that.
Yeah, they're going to have to get creative like Tampa Bay.
It'll be difficult.
Right.
The NFL, the Steelers Hall of Fame game coming up with Dallas. Really, you're not going to see much of Roethlisberger. The battles for a backup quarterback. Is Mason Rudolph in any jeopardy with Dwayne Haskins?
Yes, I would think so because of Haskins' age and potential being drafted in the first round. I would think it would be very similar to a baseball player or somebody drafted early. They're going to get more chance to succeed.
And a new contract coming up for Rudolph.
Absolutely.
George, many of the veterans will not play. There's still some concern about Tuitt and Watt, their injuries. And what about the offensive line? It's a new offensive line. You have to play these guys to give them a chance to gel and work together.
They have to gel somehow. Remember, you have the extra game.
Everybody
else has 3. They have 4.
They have 4.
The thing about it is, with Pittsburgh, I think the offensive line was so bad previously, it might not be as difficult as you think. I thought Pouncey was long over the hill, as was DeCastro.
I just think you have to play these guys more than you normally would in order to get them gelled and ready to play for the regular season.
The problem with this league is it's such a copycat league. Somebody way back when, first game a series, second game a half, third game dress rehearsal, fourth game not at all. Now that it's only 3, I'm anxious to see who the leader is, so to speak. Now, because here's always been my thought. Tom Brady's 44 today. He doesn't need to play a play.
No.
If your quarterback's a second year, man, he should play a little bit.
Well, how much do you want to play Ben to get him acclimated to the new offensive set? Maybe he might play one series, if at all. You're only going to see a peak.
Oh, against the Cowboys.
Canada. Yeah.
He won't dress.
You only see a peak of Canada's offense.
No, he'll have a baseball hat on. If he doesn't have a baseball hat on, I'll be shocked.
Najee Harris may carry 4 or 5 times. I wouldn't expect any more than that.
My concern with him is, I know how good he is from Alabama, but remember, they always had the best line, the best receivers, the best everything. The thing with him is, if he carries 25 times a game, he's going to carry the ball 425 times. And in 2 years,
Plus, he has to block.
Absolutely.
Well, there's that statistic. Whenever a running back, I think, it carries more than 380 times consecutive years, the decline is precipitous.
That's why they don't want to take him in the first round. I understand completely.
We'll see how Derrick Henry holds up now. He's going into his third straight year where he's going to carry about 350 times.
They really helped Henry because now that they grabbed Julio, they're going to be able to. I'll tell you, they're going to be dangerous.
Very good team. Now let me say this, George. Look at the Steelers' defense, man. The inside linebackers, Bush coming back from the ACL, Robert Spillane. They're tough guys, but they're not big guys. They do have trouble in coverage of tight ends. You want to get Bush ready to see how that ACL is,
Absolutely.
but where do you get the backups aren't. Vince Williams retiring really hurt them.
Yeah.
Marcus Allen's a converted safety at linebacker there. He's not a big guy.
And it's a running division. You know, it's a
In
bad
that division.
My
God, the Browns.
Because the quarterback runs for Baltimore.
And Baltimore got running backs and Browns.
It's a bad division to be small in the middle. Real bad division.
Right, because they can control that game on you on the
Absolutely.
inside and make life miserable.
Absolutely.
I'm worried. And then don't forget, 17 games this year.
Absolutely right.
And the defensive corners really concerned. There's not much depth there. They really have to find out some of the younger guys, can they play. But, I always say this about preseason games. When you think you have something figured out,
No.
it has nothing to do with the regular season.
No, there are guys like Marv Levy never won a game preseason. Didn't even worry about it.
What was the team one year? They were undefeated in the preseason.
And they lost them on the Lions.
The Lions.
Yeah,
did
lost
that.
them all. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to watch. You never get carried away with these exhibition
No.
games. Already the big news is Indy quarterback Carson Wentz has foot surgery, will be out 5 to 12 weeks.
me ask you-
What a span, 5 to 12 weeks.
You read my
Why
mind.
not say 5 to 6
3
weeks?
to 5, 5 to 7,
5 to
4
12.
to 6, 5 to 12. 12's halfway. 5 starts opening game.
And I was getting ready here in the next month to rank them as one of the top teams, but without him, they have three guys that are
Jacob Eason is not a pro quarterback.
No, and they're going to be really hurting there. With time remaining, let's move on to the Olympics, Georgia. The U.S. at the top there with gold, but COVID-19, over 190 athletes testing positive, and there's some dirty testing going on, a 45% reduction in performance-enhancing drugs. And so there's some concerns about what's going on, but the big news has been Simone Biles dealing with mental issues. She did come back to finish in the balance beam where she picked up a bronze, probably her last participation.
Yeah, anytime mental health comes up, I am always sympathetic. I wish the best for her, and if she allowed one person to maybe get some help in any way, she did a service.
A couple of great swimming events. Katie Ledecky, 4 medals, 2 gold, 2 silver, and Caleb Dressel, 5 gold medals. A record in 50 meters freestyle, and then a member of the record-winning 4x100 meter medley relay. Outstanding for him. And George, once again, the college football, they were really upset in the Pac-12, in the Big 12, about Oklahoma, Texas leaving. But what are they going to do? They now need to turn their attention. They have 4 years to find replacements for them, and they better hope to hold on to what they have. I'm sure now they're going to go after Houston and possibly TCU.
You think maybe that? You don't think they'll look toward BYU or Boise or something?
I think
like
both
that?
of those teams do, and it's going to come down to a battle. I think the Pac-12 is going to be in contention.
Let me say,
they want to add a couple more teams
They
too.
grabbed a guy that ran entertainment at a casino. I have to feel that he's a sharp guy. I don't think they're going to be pulling the wool over the Pac-12 any longer.
No, the Pac-12 needs to expand. They want to expand. Now, did they go for Houston? They want to grab a Texas team because that's a fertile recruiting ground.
Absolutely.
Just things are going to happen here within the next
Absolutely.
3 or 4 years. That is it for us. We've run out of time. We will see you next week.